Hello, you gentle eardrums and earlobes of our podcasting fans. Dear listeners, I got a question for you. Again, what do these things have in common? Rich kids, the Russian mob, being bald, California, and comic books. If you said, a Mallrats sequel starring a curmudgeon Bruce Willis, God, if only you were right. No. Today we'll be talking about the comic book killer. It's gonna be ridiculous. You got 30-ish minutes and a beverage ready? Here we go. I'm John.
And I'm Kat.
And this is Castagast. Hi folks, welcome to Castagast. Thank you for tuning in. We got a good one for you today.
Yes, I think so.
I have no idea what we're talking about, but I assume it will be a good one because
That's usually the case with you.
I was told it would be a good one.
Well,
if it's not a good one, please leave a comment and direct it towards Kat.
No, you can direct it towards John. He handles all of that stuff.
All right. Let's get on with the goddamn thing.
All right. So we are staying a bit closer to home with this one.
Oh, we got to do the disclaimer.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
In case you're wondering, this is a true crime podcast, but we're also motherfuckers who like to make jokes at the expense of the murderer. We try to avoid a town
never
or names.
At the victims.
We try to avoid making fun of the victims.
We will avoid making.
We will avoid making. We will edit any jokes out. Sometimes I can't help myself. But if you don't think that's your jam, that's totally cool. No hard feelings. We don't know who you are. You don't know who we are. So let's say that we told you so right off the top. See you later. Good luck to you.
All right. So we are going to be staying a bit closer to home with this one.
Canada?
Well, the crime happens in LA, but...
That's very far from where we are in Canada.
We'll be talking about a fellow Canadian. So...
Oh.
Yes. Today,
the Canadians can't be murderers, correct?
Except for the Picton killer, Paul Bernardo, Carla Homolka, the... fucking McClintock bitch that murdered Victoria Stafford.
Okay, so there are exceptions to the rule.
So today we will be talking about Blake Leibel. Leibel? L-I-E-B-E-L.
L-I-E? I would say Leibel.
Leibel. This Canuck was born in my birthday month. He was born on May 8th, 1981.
Oh, what is he, a Leo?
I think he'd be a Gemini, no?
I think
he's that new one. I don't know.
Is this the bad guy?
Yes.
I think he'd be an asshole.
They're very good. He was born, like I said, on May 8th, 1981 in Toronto, Canada. And
81. So this is a millennial.
Yes.
Millennial murderer.
He was raised in the very upper class Forest Hill area of Toronto.
Done his money.
And he was born rich. Both of Blake's parents were very wealthy, each separately successful, coming into the marriage with their own wealth.
Prenup.
His mother, Eleanor, was an heiress to the Alros product success, where his father held patents.
Okay. Alros?
It's a plastic sheet company, like tarps.
That's a very female industry.
We're in 2021 now.
Plastic tarps.
His father, Lorne, was a real estate tycoon in Toronto. He was also a former Olympian who sailed in the 1976 Summer Olympics. However, that didn't last long because he was the first Canadian Olympian to ever test positive for banned substance.
Oh yeah? What banned substance was that?
It just said a banned substance. Likely steroids.
Well, he represented us well.
So to say the least, Blake lived a very privileged life and didn't have to hear the word no too often. His wealth and money did a lot of his bidding on getting him through life.
So he was an asshole.
His parents, Eleanor and Lorne, did end up separating. However, they
Surprise.
always remained married, though, until Eleanor's eventual death, which we'll get to later. Blake's older brother, Cody, went to live with his father, Lorne, while Blake stayed with his mother. In the mid-2000s, Blake and two of his closest friends moved to Los Angeles. Blake's brother, Cody, was already in L.A. running his record label, C-Note Records.
How the fuck did Cody get a record label?
He created his own record label.
Entrepreneurship.
But it was short-lived. It was a short-lived label.
What was their biggest hit on their labels?
I don't even know. I should have looked that up. I doubt anything notable.
It's this really cool band from Vermont called the Rich Kids in the Asshole.
Yeah, probably. He was also trying to get into the poker world there. Blake came to LA to chase a different dream, however. He wanted to be a creator.
What?
Well, I'll get to it.
Okay, so creator is just a real blanket
Well,
term.
you barely gave me a breath.
All right.
So he wanted to be a creator and wanted to be among the Josh Whedons and the Stan Lees.
Wow.
He got a sweet job, however, working on the TD adaptation of Mel Brooks's Spaceballs. So it was a animation.
There was a TV adaptation of Spaceballs?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we'll post some clips of that on our social media. He was a creative consultant on that show. He also wrote and directed a film that was straight to DVD in 2009 called Bald. And I am going to show you the trailer for that.
I can't wait to see this. How long is it?
It's 2 minutes.
2 minutes. He wrote and directed it. Was there an Oscar nod for Best Short Animated Film by a rich fuck?
This was not an animated film. This was like an indie. I think he was trying to chase after like the American Pie style of humor, but this is it here.
Was that Diamond Dallas Page?
Oh, I don't
Jesus Christ, what lows does that man have to endure?
I feel like,
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Were those supposed to be high schoolers or university students? Because they were all in their 40s.
Yeah, university students.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That, like, if I was, like, maybe 16 years old, maybe I'd be like, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah. It's like your typical frat party, get drunk film.
Like there was no laughs to be had. That was fucking brutal.
So that was Bald. It came out in 2009 and it went straight to film. I'm sure you can find a copy of it online somewhere. It came and went and was not seen by many. One of the few critics that did see the film said, quote, "It would only appeal to the late-night channel surfers who stumble upon it while bored or inebriated," end quote.
Tell me there was at least, like, it's R-rated, right? So
Absolutely.
There's at least tits in there.
Yeah. Well, they're making porn. I would assume they have
Zach
nudity.
and Miri make a porno have, like, lots of nudity in it?
Yeah. Well, the one girl in particular was shown naked quite a bit. Yeah. So, but Blake did have more success in the comic book / graphic novel world in LA. He published a few things within Fantasy Prone, which is his publishing company that he started with his two friends that moved to LA with him.
Fantasy prone.
Yeah.
That's like the position I take when I'm about to masturbate with candles.
Oh my God. So Blake was the author and creator of Wilmer Valderrama's 2014 graphic novel titled Wilmer Valderrama's Presents Gold Medal Rabbit Journey to the Animal Games.
That's a title?
And that's the cover of...
Oh, dear Christ.
And we'll post this on our social media, but...
Gold Medal Rabbit Journey to the Animal Games.
Yeah.
It sounds like a furry convention.
Yeah, it does.
/ orgy.
It almost looks like a bit of a ripoff of Looney Tunes as well. I don't know.
And I love the 3D fucking text.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like so 90s.
So unfortunately, I did do some digging. Amazon didn't have any reviews. However, there was one Goodreads review that gave it 2 out of 5 stars.
Wow,
That's all I could find. One
that's
on there.
pretty generous.
So, in 2011, Blake married former model Amanda Braun. A month after tying the knot, Amanda gave birth to their son.
A month.
Yeah, so they were clearly...
So, whoops.
Yeah. So the couple moved to Beverly Hills. However, the projects Blake had under his belt weren't sufficient enough to pay bills or sustain their extravagant lifestyle. But that didn't stop him from spending his money, or his mom and dad's money, I guess I should say. His weed habit and upcoming projects were being funded by his parents. And sadly, in 2011, Blake's mother, Eleanor, passed away of brain cancer.
Damn.
Blake was very close to her, so this upset him greatly. He did miss her funeral, claiming it was, quote, too difficult for him, end quote. Blake received a substantial inheritance from her. Aside from money, he also received a $5.5 million home and other assets worth millions. But that wouldn't last him too long.
Really?
In 2013, he appealed the will to have it overturned to try and gain a few more dollars. The Ottawa Sun obtained court records, and in those court documents, Blake revealed that he had almost no income and had to rely on his father to pay his bills. Lauren told the court that he and his mother had been supporting him his entire time while out in LA, $1.8 million worth of support. Blake lost the case and then was now stuck with $400,000 of unpaid lawyer fees.
What a fucking idiot.
So while Amanda was 8 months pregnant with her second son, Blake up and left Amanda Braun for another woman, Ayanna Cassian.
God, this guy really is a winner.
A few months later, Ayanna became pregnant with their daughter.
What? God damn it.
Ayanna's mother, Olga Cassian, came from the Ukraine to assist Ayanna with their daughter. She was quoted saying how happy everyone was. All of us were happy, she said. However, Blake did share a few concerns with friends via text message that he was concerned for his safety and the safety of his family due to his brother's poker debts and his association with the Russian mob.
Oh my goodness.
It seems, though, that a lot of Blake's issues stemmed from his love life and were self-induced. While in the middle of his divorce with Amanda and living with Ayanna, Blake was seeing another woman, Constance Bucca-Fury.
Jesus, what? Like, you think someone could tell him, hey, maybe you should just tone things back a bit. You're filling up your life with craziness.
He was living the Playboy lifestyle. That's exactly what he was doing.
Fucking idiot.
So Ayanna learned about this affair when Bucca-Fury accused Blake of rape and sexual assault. Ooh. And Ayanna learned about this affair by having to bail him out of jail. So Blake became very controlling and very jealous. It is mentioned that he may have been jealous of the attention Ayanna was giving their newborn baby daughter.
Oh my goodness.
Still recovering from a C-section, Blake would demand that she have sex with him whenever he wanted, and that she needs to allow him to see other women. Ayanna eventually agreed to have their daughter live with her mother so she could put more focus on Blake.
What? Oh my God, parents of the year.
So on May 24th, 2016, while shopping with her mother, Blake texted Ayanna numerous times. He said to her that he was sorry and that he can't live without her. She told her mother that she was going to see him, and that would be the last time Olga would ever see her daughter alive.
Fuck.
So Olga immediately had a bad feeling. She mentioned that her daughter's attitude completely changed after receiving these text messages. Later that night, the mother, Olga, tried going to Blake's apartment and knocking, but no one came to the door. Ayanna hadn't come home yet. But, again, it's still the same day. At 1 a.m, a call came in to Ayanna's sister, Evgenia. I'm probably butchering that.
That's a toughie.
But she missed the call. When she tried calling back, no one answered. The next day, Olga demanded a welfare check from the police. When there, they knocked and yelled, but nobody answered. She tried getting the police to knock down the door, but they didn't have cause, and it hasn't even been 24 hours yet. Now we're at the next morning, so 2 days later. The next morning, frantic with worry, Olga went back to the police. They obtained a key from the property manager, but the door was latched from the inside, so someone was obviously home inside. The police pried the door open, and they discovered a makeshift barricade made of furniture and bedding inside the living room. So going further into the apartment, they noticed the presence of blood. They went to the master bedroom where there was another barricade made with Blake behind it, being completely uncooperative and unwilling to leave.
I just picture this jackass rich boy making a pillow fort, slapping a no girls allowed or police sign.
He was in tighty whities too.
Oh my God, what a fucking noob.
That's how he,
Dumbass.
So, he was unwilling to leave and just kept shouting that Ayanna wasn't there. Finally, police got inside the bedroom and they discovered Blake and Ayanna's lifeless body. The scene looked eerily familiar, as it depicted a similar part of his graphic novel, Syndrome. It was apparent that Ayanna was tortured, and we will post that part of his book on our social media. It's pretty jarring. So it was apparent that Ayanna was tortured. Her body was mutilated and cut severely. She was then killed and the blood drained from her body.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
According to the Ottawa Sun, in Syndrome, a serial killer hangs a couple by their feet, draining their blood. In another panel, a female corpse lies headless on a bed in a puddle of blood. Ayanna clearly fought very hard. Blake was covered in bite marks, scratches, and bruises.
Poor woman.
So I'm going to read to you now the report that came from the coroner's office. Quote, Cassian's entire scalp was traumatically absent and was not found. It was not present with the body. Her skull had been stripped down to the surface of the bone. There was no scalp present except for little bits in the back of her neck. Portions of the right side of her face were torn away, including her right ear and part of the posterior face on the right side, all the way down to the jawline. There was quite a number of bruises and abrasions on the face, primarily on the left side, the left cheek, and the left jaw area. A number of bruises and abrasions, including one that turned out to be a human bite mark. She had lived through at least 8 hours, approximately, after receiving the scalp injury.
Oh my God, shit.
Dr. James Ribe from the coroner's office said, I have never seen anything like this before, and I doubt hardly any forensic pathologists in this country or abroad have even seen this. Maybe since wartime. This is extremely rare. End quote.
Fuck. Damn.
So yes, it was revealed that Ayanna was alive for 8 hours before her eventual death. So he tortured her. And very likely was still alive while her mother was pounding on the door that first night.
Jeez.
And I'm wondering if she somehow was able to get away and that was the call that came in to her sister. I don't know. That's just my own theory. But so during the trial, the jury and Ayanna's mother had to hear the horrible details of Ayanna's death, as well as viewing the graphic pictures. One including the very bone of Ayanna's scalp and the flesh missing completely, as well as another piece of flesh laying beside Ayanna's naked and lifeless body.
Oh my goodness.
Ayanna's mother, Olga, read an impact statement that said, He took away the most precious thing that a baby could have. The monster ruined our lives, ruined the lives of his family, lives of his sons, and of his newborn daughter, who looks just like him, a spitting copy. Blake was found guilty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Good.
Yeah. Judge Mark Wyndham saying, quote, the case was unusual due to the savagery, the defendant's profound brutality, and his inconceivable cruelty. In February of 2019, a judge reported that Blake Leibel paid $42 million to Ayanna Cassian's family, which I doubt he has. I don't know if his father will pay on his behalf. I feel like, I mean, it's not his father's fault, but I feel like it would be the right thing to do. That family get that money. Does not
You created that piece of fucking filth.
Does not replace their daughter whatsoever, but it gives some comfort to Olga, who's raising
their granddaughter.
So that is the story of Blake Leibel, known as the comic book killer.
So when you told me that this was going to be the comic book killer, I just imagined some shithead dressed up like the Penguin running around and just offing people.
Yeah.
I didn't anticipate this story in particular. They called him that just because he basically reproduced a kill scene from his comic book.
Yeah, and was really trying to get up in the comic book world as well. So I think that's why they call him the comic book killer, which like I absolutely hate because it's a fame thing.
Yeah.
So now it just becomes this whole other part of his already gigantic ego. So I'm going to show you these again. We'll go on our social media. I'm going to show you a picture of Blake and Ayanna together. She was absolutely stunning. Of course, I hate to say this. He's clearly a handsome man then, no longer anymore, because I'm going to show you what he looks like now. But that was Blake and Ayanna.
Yeah, he looks exactly the way I expected him to look.
And she's absolutely gorgeous, just absolutely gorgeous. And then this was him during his trial.
Oh, he looks fucked.
Yeah. So definitely a different...
How does one gain weight?
It's a very...
During trial. You'd think, like, with all the stress and nervousness of a normal person would have, you'd be losing weight.
Yeah. It's a very common thing that I see. Like, even, you haven't seen it yet, but we will watch it. Brendan Dassey from the Making a Murderer podcast was just like an average looking 16-year-old. He was tall, maybe a little bit of meat on his bones. Now, like, ever since he's been in prison, he's put on a bit of weight. So that is the cover as well as Syndrome. So pretty much what he was replicating in terms of the skull.
Yeah.
With Ayanna. And that is the scene that was being recreated. Speculation. That's when they reference the couple hanging from their feet. I hope, like, you can't even get this book anymore unless all the money for it goes to Cassian's family.
Well, can you imagine, like, the death of your daughter, your mother, is just out there in comic book form?
Yeah, that's just absolutely awful. I truly hope it's not even in print anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure because they like that serial killer memorabilia.
Yeah.
There are those serial killer museums and stuff, so I'm sure maybe, he wasn't a serial killer, but maybe there's a copy of it in someone's personal collection just for that kind of...
Oh, it's probably worth quite a bit, I imagine, to have a copy if it's out of print.
Yeah. I feel sorry,
and the notoriety behind it.
Mm-hmm. That is Blake Leibel. I don't really care. I just want to
know, like, what in the shit was his end game?
I think he was mentally unhinged. I think he had always... There were reports of people coming for, like, conversations he had throughout his whole life of just, like, this gruesome, dark side he had, but that was translated in his novels. So that's what they thought... that's just what they thought was happening, that he was just, like, this, dark-minded person that wants to write gory stuff. But even when you see his, I don't know if it's his mugshot but they wanted to photograph the injuries on his face when he was arrested. And it's like the most bizarre looking photo. Like he's smiling.
Oh man, I hope he's getting pounded in fucking prison. What a fucking psychopath.
He just does not look present even in that photo. He just does not look like he's in his right state of mind.
What a fucking waste of DNA.
Yeah. So despite the scandal I'm sure that his father has been in, I do feel bad for his family having to have that attached to them.
So, like, what excuse does this asshole have for being fucking ridiculous?
Well, it's didn't really happen.
Like, his parents, he had tons of fucking money. He had no want in the world. His parents had a divorce like every fucking other person.
Well, that's exactly...
Like, what's his fucking excuse?
He was just a rich kid that was never told no. This was Ayanna put her foot down, left him, and that's not something he's used to. And that probably made him snap. While she was bleeding and being tortured, while she was still alive, likely already having the worst done to her, he went out in the middle of the night and got takeout. He was seen leaving his condo and coming back with takeout while she's suffering in his home.
Oh, that's fucking ridiculous.
So I don't know, like I think he always had a mental health issue that never went treated or even acknowledged, and I think that's how it played itself out.
Yeah, maybe, like you said, people are like, well, he's a rich kid. The rich are so different.
Look how we covered the Catherine Knight case, which will be coming out, or if it's likely already out now for you guys. She was just known as like being this like violent person that would like beat up her boyfriends, and people would be like, it's just who Catherine is. And then she goes ahead and murders and cooks her boyfriend. You know, it's like people just eventually just chalk it up to, that's just how the person is. And then something like this happens.
Well, let this be a lesson to you potential parents out there. Regardless of how much money you have, don't fucking raise an asshole. Mm-hmm. Raise an adult.
Yeah.
For goodness sakes, for fuck's sakes, every single goddamn fucking serial killer we look at has a ridiculous... Some parents somewhere fucked up and created a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, the parents created this piece of garbage.
Well, they're creating the child, but it's... I see what you're saying in the raising of the child.
Or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was very... I did read reports that he was always trying to gain his father's acceptance. His father did seem to show favoritism towards Cody. And I think that speaks out to why Blake stayed back with his mother and Cody went with the father when the separation happened.
Well, it certainly benefited Cody with his fucking gambling issues and ties to the Russian mob.
It is just... yeah, I feel his...
Just a pack of assholes.
I feel his mother really did try. I mean, it's just I feel like when money comes into play, people think you can buy love, and you're doing a good job by doing that. And maybe that's what they were doing with raising Blake. You know, they just... used their money to make everything hunky-dory and not have to face consequences. And I don't think his parents are to blame for this.
Well, someone is.
He is.
Oh, but like what created this crap? No one fucking comes out of, Hollywood, Beverly Hills. There's some crazy people out there, especially in like the industries he's in. But my goodness... No one taught him to fucking be that batshit crazy.
Maybe it's not a taught thing. It's not a learned behavior. It's something that he could have had an imbalance since childhood.
I think someone should have spanked this fuck.
Or even, who says he wasn't? We don't know.
Fair enough. It was interesting that I watched... Norm Macdonald has a show that's on Netflix.
Yes, that's great.
I miss fucking Norm Macdonald.
I know, me too. It's very sad.
He interviews Judge Judy, who is just filthy rich.
I love Judge Judy.
Oh, she's fucking fantastic. She's awesome. But he asks her, because in the interview, they go over her...
wealth.
Her life.
Yeah. And
her career. And it's like all of a sudden now doesn't have to worry about money. And she talks about how... Yeah, she didn't have to worry about money. So then you focus so much more on other things going on in your life that are problems. And
you can
put more time towards them. Mm-hmm. And it just feels just a way, and maybe that's just a way you presented this story about Blake and his family. It just seemed like two very successful, preoccupied parents using money to raise their kids. They didn't focus on them like, like Judge Judy explained. Okay, you don't have to worry about money, but you still have to worry about the other stuff.
Yeah.
And now you can really put time and effort into that other stuff because you don't have to worry about money.
Yeah.
But these fuckers sounds like they were so busy making money that they didn't bother raising their two fucking sons and create a pair of assholes.
A part of me is wondering, too, if he thought he was going to get some sort of compensation for her death with her being the mother of his child.
Who fucking does that?
Oh, my gosh.
But like in this
Welcome
scenario,
to the
this
true
guy
crime
like
world.
got more money than most people will ever get in their fucking lives.
Well,
and he
didn't
sues to
have
get
any-
more.
He didn't. Yeah, he wasted it. He didn't have it. He didn't have money. And maybe that's what made him snap, too. Maybe it was a panic. I don't know. But I mean, he didn't just kill her. He brutalized her.
Oh.
So that
and
that
that's
goes
the thing,
beyond a
too.
whole other. That goes beyond a whole other thing. You know, it's not like he shot her, dumped her body, and then tried to write it off as a missing person and collect some sort of benefit for the daughter. I don't think that's the case anymore because,
Just a
like,
spectacle of it.
Yeah, he definitely,
Theatrics.
yeah, he tortured her and.
We talk about so many serial killers and multiple murders and mass, and thank goodness it was just the one victim. Thank goodness
One
that
is too many,
the
but
children were spared from this crap.
I
for the
cannot
most part.
imagine what would have
It's-
happened if the child was there. I don't even want to think of it. Speaking of scumbags, I don't know if you heard about it. This fucking ex-football player that I think maybe only played for like 2 or 3 seasons, so like a nobody,
Yeah.
beat up his son's mother. So they weren't even together anymore. But he came over on the pretense of wanting to see his son. It was like 2 in the afternoon. Son is 6 months or 5 months old or something like that. Maybe older. And you should see the video. Like, she had like one of those indoor cameras.
Oh,
And he just throws her around like she's a rag doll.
jeez.
And she's finally able to call police, and he takes off. And there was a manhunt for him
Good.
for a few days, and they finally arrested him. They finally got him. But just, oh my gosh, you hear so often, like with football players, and you do hear like it's due to like the constant head injuries, like and trauma to their head. There's a true crime case that we'll cover someday about how this one guy in, I think it was the 30s or something, was completely normal and then suffered a head injury, and that completely changed him and made him a miserable, angry.
Oh, I think I remember you mentioning this story to me.
Yeah.
And that's, they had things that happened to their brains. This piece of garbage had nothing to happen. No one was banging against this guy's fucking head.
Yeah. I think it was a mental health issue. That's the only, just based off of like the pictures that we see of him.
Well, here we have it. Proof that money doesn't buy happiness.
Absolutely.
Inflation also doesn't buy happiness
No.
either.
No.
Well, thank
Neither
you for sharing
do
that.
lockdowns.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing
Vaccines
that.
don't buy happiness. Anyways.
All right, I'm ready to get back into Skyrim.
All right. Well, thank
Trying
you.
to cleanse the palate from that.
Yeah.
Do we have cumin in our soap? My hands smell like cumin.
You should probably wash your hands more often. I caught you smelling your hands a few times.
It's smell them.
They smell like soap. I don't know what you're smelling. They smell like your shower gel. I think maybe there's something stuck in your nostrils.
All right, folks. Thanks for sticking around this far.
Yeah, you're a real trooper if you're still here with
All
us.
right, cheers to you.
And we'll be here next time.
Take care. Bye now.
You can check us out on YouTube at Catam Concoction.
That's CATAMCONCOCTION.
And on Instagram at cast_aghast.
Remember, there's a silent H.